El Paso. My name's Tony Aleman, and this is my co-host, Miss Andrea Chacon. And this is our third episode with local icons. And today we have a very special guest, but I'll leave the honors to Miss Andrea to do that.
Let's introduce today's local icon, born and raised in El Paso, Texas. Please help me welcome Elia Esparza.
Esparza, come on out. Hi, Elia.
So nice to
Elia, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Have a seat, have a seat. Ladies.
So great to have you here. And of course, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
I love your look. And I follow you on Instagram. I follow you pretty much everywhere. Ever since you were on those big shows on TV that I know Andrea's prepared to touch on that today.
Talk about those.
And I've been following you ever since I saw you on the news. And I was like, wow, this young lady has some really big talents. So I'm really happy that you're here. And at Local Icons, the whole objective is to motivate, inspire, all our local youth and aspiring actors and singers and artists in general. So you're definitely one of those people. And we love to, we're very interested in what you're going to say today.
Thank you.
And how you brought up, this talent to this level.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And like Tony said, we are looking for those local icons that are going to inspire our new generations or even, who knows, older generations. You never know. We can't,
Can't discriminate.
there. Yeah,
Discriminate.
we cannot. So with that being said, my first question to you is, what inspired you to go into the music industry? When did you start?
Well, since I was very young, my parents would show me so much music. Like, I remember my first album was En Vogue and Mariah Carey's #1 hits at the time, back in the day. So I was always, listening to the big divas, Whitney Houston, Mariah, Aretha Franklin. My dad really got me into those classic divas, Freddie Mercury, of course, with Queen. And so, I don't know, I would just start singing in my room, in the mirror, like probably every kid does. But I started taking voice lessons when I was about, I want to say 8 or 9 years old, that my mom took me to. And it just felt super natural. I remember they would put on, showcases and stuff like that. And I just felt at home. And so as I got older, I got into theater, choir, all of those things, performing. And it just felt like the right path for me. I mean, kudos to anyone who's super book smart, but I was just I want to sing, I want to act, I want to be on stage. That comes super natural to me. And I was just inspired, I think, from those classic great artists, and I just felt like I wanted to accomplish that as well.
How old were you when you kind of discovered your talent?
I think around 8 years old. Yeah, when I first started kind of taking voice lessons and stuff.
Every child isn't born with confidence, or were you ever afraid when you first started having to perform, maybe just in front of your family members, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when I was younger, I'd get the nervous, feeling singing in front of friends or family. But on stage, I wasn't nervous. It was just more in personal settings I was nervous. But I would say I struggled a lot when I moved to New York and I went to acting school out there. And I felt like everything I knew and learned on my own, throughout high school and theater and choir and all that, was just kind of ripped away. And I had no self-identity, so I was really just kind of floating because I didn't really understand what I wanted to do at that point. And so that took me a while to kind of get back into my confidence in myself and figuring out what my next steps were.
I knew you were a singer, and that's how I think the majority of people know you. But right now, you threw a curveball at me. You went to New York for acting school?
Yeah,
So-
I attended the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts.
Wow, how long were you there for?
I was there for 3 years.
So you finished that?
Yeah.
You
hmm
Is that a bachelor's? What kind of degree is that?
It's an occupational degree. It's not
Okay.
a real degree, but
It's more like a certification.
yeah, it was more all we did was focus on acting. We didn't do math or science or anything like that. We just
I mean, regardless, it's
Yeah.
still a craft.
yeah. I mean, I definitely got to work with some incredible teachers and coaches and people. It was theater, film, and TV.
Yeah.
So we kind of went through all of those phases.
And one of the things that you mentioned right before, I don't think you were here, but right before the show started, you said, "Oh, this is like the friend said," and you tell us a little bit of what you just told me about David Schwimmer. That he
Yeah, so I used to live in the East Village in a studio apartment, probably smaller than this studio, with 5 people. And across the street, David Schwimmer, the guy who plays Ross on Friends, lived across the street from us. And we had a creepy naked dude.
Oh.
So we honestly felt we were like super poor. We're all actors. I mean, different from Friends, right? Because they're paid actors. But we're like friends. It's like the same thing.
More like Joey's life.
Yeah, pretty much we're all Joey.
Wow, that's incredible.
Are you into
That
Friends?
is, yeah. I mean,
I'm a huge
watched it in a
fan.
while, but
Me too,
I
like-
did finish the whole
Yeah,
thing on Netflix.
my son's actually working part of this crew, and he's born in the wrong era because he loves Friends, all these old 90s and early 2000s. Not old, but he's in love with Friends, and I am as well. This was inspired.
Yeah.
Friends. I mean, it's one of the biggest shows to me. That
It is
ever lived.
Yeah.
That
Anyway,
is
so that's
awesome.
cool. I mean, I had no idea that you were also an actress.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. And I guess literally Instagram came out when I think I was graduating from school. So it was like kind of before
Like
social
graduating
media.
from high school.
No,
From
from
college.
from
New York.
college,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
So it was definitely like I think about, I'm like, wow, we didn't have Instagram when I was in college. That's crazy.
Well, you're gonna tell me there was only
There was-
cell phones
There
and
was the
beepers.
MySpace.
Yeah.
It was MySpace when I was in
MySpace.
college. It was MySpace when I was
Yeah.
in college. But I mean, to look back 20 years, because it's been 20 years, man, we've come a long way. Do you know what the way we used to promote parties? You used to run down the main hall and throw like 1,000 flyers in the main hallway.
That's like a movie. I
Yeah.
feel like that's like a movie.
Yeah, and that's how now we just post. Hey, there's this going on. Hit it up and hit. Maybe I'll attend or I'm going and what. So it's totally different.
Social media has definitely evolved throughout the years, and I think it's really helped a lot of artists, gain that exposure.
A whole platform, man.
So yeah, definitely.
What else do we got in Dre?
So I want to ask you. You do say that you've always loved music, acting, etc. But what performance was like the one? Like when you were on stage or something, and you were like, "Wow,
Change your life,
this
maybe?
is what I want to do."
Like my performance or like watching
Yes.
the performance?
no, like you.
Oh
personally.
man. I just remember like senior year of high school, I went to America's and like
Go Blazers.
I know, go Blazers. Woo. I just
Oh my
remember
God, nothing but America's.
I know, right? I just remember like feeling on top of the world. Like we did Charlie Brown the musical. We just did so many shows, and I remember that year I was like in all of them, and I was like, I felt like on top of the world for sure. But I will say more recently, I sang at the Oakland Raiders game. I sang the national anthem
Wow.
in Oakland, and it was my first time going to an NFL game, and I'm in a stadium with 60,000 people. And I'm just praying that, because you're supposed to wear in-ears, and mine fell out, of course. I knew that was going to happen.
Your ears are too small.
They are. And I sang it, and afterwards I was like, okay, I did it. Like, just screams. All I could hear was screams. And there was a football player, Marshawn Lynch, who like gave me this look, who was just like, you just killed it. And I was like, okay. So
Alright.
that recently, I guess, has kind of happened like a year ago, was definitely like a wow moment for me.
So you did last season. You sang that.
Yeah, I think it was last season, or it might have been a year before that, but recent, yeah.
And it was Marshall Lynch with the Raiders?
Yes, he was with the
'Cause
Raiders, yeah.
Originally, I think he's a Seattle originally, right?
Yeah, he was with
So
the
then,
Raiders
yeah,
at that
so I
time,
was-
yeah.
Wow. See, these are the things that people need to hear about. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was
Did you post this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
I thought you said you were a fan, Tony.
I know.
I
Let's cut
said
down.
I said I followed.
It's okay. I post a lot.
No, and recently I've been actually I saw that you do like home concerts. Like
Yeah,
virtual
so
concerts?
yeah, I just signed with this basically an app called Sessions Live, and they are going to host virtual concerts. So I'll be performing on Monday, the 22nd, yes, online. And it's basically like an online concert from home. Especially, I mean, I know things are starting to open up now with COVID and everything, but a lot of places are still closed, or a lot of people don't want to go out. So it's just another alternative to kind of watch a show. It's going to be about like 30 minutes to an hour or so.
So you have like a whole set of list of songs. Are you gonna?
Yeah, I have a set list. Yeah.
It's just you and your system, or is it gonna be a band with you, or?
For this show, it's just going to be me and like backtracks. So just backing tracks, and then hopefully in the future I want to organize some with my boyfriend because he plays guitar. So we want to have like our own live show separate from that as well, and just kind of do an acoustic thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. And like we were saying earlier, you're just surrounded by music.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really
So your
cool.
boyfriend's also he's a musician.
Yeah, so my boyfriend Mark plays for Frank Ray, he's from Las Cruces, but they're like always in Nashville or on tour and stuff.
And
so.
her boyfriend is here watching.
Yeah.
He's over there.
So shout out to Mark.
Mark, shout out, man. You landed the jackpot with this young lady. Jesus, man.
You guys are
Talented.
a perfect duo. Both
Man.
of them musicians.
Have you guys ever written anything together? I know you guys can't hear Mark, but he's over here.
We have written some stuff together, actually, yeah. And it's like, it's so funny because like we live together, but we're still so busy with our own projects that we're like, we have to both be like, record those vocals. Okay, like record that track. Can you mix this? Like type of we have to like remind each other because we just fill our days with like music and different types of work and things like that.
Wow, man,
That's awesome. To have someone that understands what, profession you're in and what you're going through and everything, and to have that support is very rare
Not
to
just to
have.
support,
Yeah.
but I
A lot
mean
of
to lend a
relationships.
hand and produce and
Yeah.
Yeah.
be part of the success.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And this was a while ago, but you did mention you did some theater in high school. So I did want to give a shout out to Mr. Haas. Because that man made a real big impact in my life as well.
So
So,
much fun
yeah.
with it.
You were in theater, right?
Yes, my
Oh,
4
wow.
years of high school. It was some of the greatest experiences that I ever had. So
Right.
that was a lot of fun. So yeah, shout out to Mr. Haas.
Go Thespians.
Yes.
Well,
Definitely.
I want to quickly touch because this is a fairly short segment, but I don't want to run out of time before we hit this. We want to roll some video, and the first one I want to hit. I think the one that kind of got you known around El Paso was The Voice, right?
Yes.
And then from here you did La Voz.
Yes, I did La Voz Mexico.
So I think, what do we have ready? I think you know. more than I
Yes.
do.
So we do have your video from The Voice, which we will roll. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about that experience. You said you went to The Voice, La Voz Mexico, and also American Idol. So what was that experience like? I mean, must have been very nervous.
It was crazy because I was living in New York at the time, and one day I got a phone call and they're like, "Do you want to audition for The Voice?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." Like what? Like who calls people, right? And ended up getting on the show, flown out to LA. Like they took care of everything. I was out there for about like 4 months, and it was like so insanely amazing to be able to work with not only like the musicians, the producers, and everyone part of that show. We filmed on Universal Studios, so it was like so cool to get on set and everything. I met Miley, and Adam Levine was my coach. I met Alicia Keys and Blake Shelton, but the performance itself, like I have never been so nervous in my life. Like I was just shaking, and I realized later, I was like, this was like my first national performance. I'd been performed my whole life, but it's just so different when you're on a TV set and you're in front of like 4 superstars. And so it was an incredible experience. I learned a lot. And the following year when I did La Voz Mexico, I really felt so much more confident and prepared and really knew like, okay, I've done this before. I've kind of gone through the steps. I'm way more confident, and I had spent like that year performing like every week. So it was definitely I felt like my voice had improved. I felt like my presence, my stage, everything. So that was super fun. My biggest struggle on that show though was speaking Spanish. Even though I speak Spanish and I understand, like I was like, I'm not prepared. But that was an amazing experience. I had never like lived in Mexico, so we filmed it in Mexico City. Wow. And that was so much fun. I made a lot of friends. And
one of the things that I hear a lot when I watch the show is when you do the audition, this song selection? How did that process? Who helped you with?
Because you have a time limit, correct? You can't just do a full song.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, you rehearse beforehand, and you basically fill out a whole questionnaire of like, who are your artists that you like feel like you are similar to? What are songs that you're comfortable with? What are songs you're not comfortable with? So it comes down between like you and the producers because they have to clear the songs and everything like that. And I was just like, well, if I do something in Spanish, like no one else is going to do anything in Spanish. I doubt, and so I chose Como la Flor, or like I put that on my list because I thought it would really stand out. And I thought it would bring like, like my culture into it. Of course, everyone loves Selena. And I thought it would just be like a good choice. And the producers approved it and we went from there.
I love that. And before we continue this conversation, because it's so good and I have so many more questions, Chris, please don't keep us waiting any longer and show us that video.
Whoa!
Yo sé que tienes un nuevo amor, sin embargo te deseo lo mejor. Si en mí no encontraste felicidad, tal vez alguien más te la dará. Como la flor, con tanto amor, me diste tú. Se marchito, me marchó.
That's all you need.
Ay, cómo me duele. Como la flor, con tanto amor, me diste tú. Se marchito, me marchó y yo se veré. Ay, cómo me duele. Ay, cómo me
Wow! It's easy.
Congratulations, that was a really great performance.
Thank you.
And you said your Spanish isn't that good, but I thought it was.
I mean, I worked on it for sure.
I
I was like Selena though, because she didn't know Spanish. So
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was muy excited. Okay.
No, and I
I was muy
That's
excited.
my excuse. Like, you can't come out.
And it's awesome that you made this song your own. So you added your own twist to it. So
Yeah.
that is super cool. And you were telling us a little bit earlier that wasn't the first try, I guess. You've auditioned for this before. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I turned 16, I auditioned for American Idol and America's Got Talent and The Voice and like all the shows. And I think I had auditioned when I was like 18, I think was the last time. And I was 24 when I did that. And after I auditioned when I was 18 and didn't make it, I was like, I don't need this, whatever. And I kept like, singing and working on my stuff. I just never thought to audition again. And they scouted me. So thank goodness for that because who knows, like where I'd be right
That's
now.
incredible. And of course, El Paso is very proud of you.
Yeah, what's the irony?
Really big.
America's High School had Elia. America's High School had Khalid.
Stars come out of America's High School.
Had Andrea.
Yeah, there we go.
Which also sings, and you, not too long ago, I think you won Canta El Paso, right?
Yes.
Hey, see?
Right before the pandemic started. So, all
So
of that
she
has been on
sings.
hold.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yes. Right now, my voice is a little bit
Hey,
better.
America's High School's done a good job, man.
Yeah, stars come out of there.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Honestly, I can't complain. I know a lot of people say, my high school experience was horrible and I would never go back. But for me, I would definitely go back in a heartbeat.
Mine was great.
I had so much
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I ruled the school. No, just kidding.
I think the people that would say that would have a lot more drama kind of following them. But I had fun. I mean, my life was full of sports in high school. So you guys were all performers already. I became a performer till after high school. So that's awesome, man. And so much that you've achieved.
Thank
And,
you.
What's next? Well, I think you had mentioned that there was something else with upcoming music.
Yes. So you did just release a new song about a month ago, I believe.
Yes, I did.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, the song is called We Could Be, and I released about like 5 new songs within the past year. So all that is on Spotify and YouTube and music videos and all that fun stuff. And I started recording here as soon as I moved here, pretty much at Beacon Hill Recording Studios. So the guys there have helped me out a lot, and they produce all my videos and music. And but yeah, that's my latest song. You guys can go stream it, go check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you support local and that you're recording
Oh, of
here in
course.
El Paso. You know, when
Yeah.
you could go, you know, you were in New York or one of those other bigger cities. It's so cool that you record here locally and you're supporting local businesses.
Didn't Beacon Studio also work with Khalid?
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
actually, when I first moved here, they had told me like, oh, this kid Khalid, he has this song, location, and then I went to the studio and they're like, hey, we want you to meet Khalid, and I was like, all right, cool, and like, boom, he's a superstar. So yeah, but they did like about half of his first album, and then they've worked on other songs
You
with
keep
him.
contact with him? Do you
I don't have a personal
relationship?
like I'm not like, hey, Khalid, but I mean, like whenever he's in town, you know, sometimes I run into him at the studio, or like
That's cool.
when we performed at Neon Desert, we hung out backstage and things like that. And I've actually done some judging with his mom. So I know his
Wow.
mom has a lot of like things going on, and so we've been in talks about like working together and things like that.
That's so
But I don't have his number or anything like that.
That is
Or I'm not that
super-
cool.
So
What comes next?
I know right now we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
But I'm sure this is giving you a lot of time to, you know, plan and, you know, get a feel of what you want next. So can you give us a little sneak peek of what we can expect in the future from Elia Esparza?
Yeah, I mean, I've really just taken this time to like work on my craft. I've done a lot of like vocalizing. I've done a lot of like I'm taking vocal courses again and getting a coach and things like that. Also working on my songwriting. So I've just been focusing on creating content and working on my craft. Hopefully, like once everything is back open, I can get back in the studio and record. I have some projects out in LA that are also kind of in the works, but it's still kind of up in the air because of, you know, the pandemic. And then who knows? Like, I think music is definitely going to take me places I wouldn't have dreamed of. It already has. So I always have that mindset of like, I'm ready to go to the next, wherever
Next
the
level.
wind takes me at this point.
Yeah.
So I've always like, even before The Voice, I was like, I would vocalize every single day. And I would practice, and I would make YouTube videos that weren't very good, and I was just like putting myself out there.
Have to.
You
And-
had passion and determination.
Yeah,
So
and like the
that is
reason I
awesome.
did that was how I got on the show. And so I've just kind of always followed that instinct of like, don't like stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because you never know when the opportunity is going to come.
That's a great
Yeah.
message right there. Stay ready.
Yeah.
Which leads to one of the questions that I had for you. If you could list maybe 4 or 5 things that an upcoming singer needs to do to stay ready, or maybe just get ready, what are those things? Well, I mean, getting a coach. What do you do to your voice that kind of gets it to that level?
So for me personally, like my routine is like my key to success, I believe, because the consistency of like, I definitely vocalize every single day, about half hour to an hour a day, depending on what the day looks like. And getting a coach is super important, even an online coach or buying an online program, to make sure you're still learning and growing and not just doing the same things over and over, but you're continuously learning. Even professional like pop stars have vocal coaches, because I feel like you always need that guidance. Someone to tell you, be like, okay, you could push a little harder type of thing. So definitely creating rituals, getting a coach, vocalizing every single day, taking care of your body. I think like fitness and building that endurance is super important, along with like if you want to be on stage, you want to feel confident. You want to feel confident in your body and in your mind and mental. So all of that ties into music and singing. Because someone can have a great voice, but if they don't want to own it or show it, it's like it doesn't feel, you won't feel that from them. So physical fitness and mental stability is really important to me as well. So I'm like rambling because there's so many things that I do to really take care of myself, and I'm just constantly learning. I would say is like the biggest thing of like stay consistent in whatever you're doing, whether it's singing or dancing or acting. Like practice. Oh my gosh, when I opened for Laura Pausini, who was my coach on The Voice Mexico, I opened for her in LA at the Greek Theater. and I practiced my songs like no other, because I knew once I got on that stage, I was like, I'm gonna be nervous. I'm gonna be so in front of, like, at the Greek theater, and I felt so at ease because I knew I had practiced so much. So just work on your craft, be consistent, like, don't give up, give yourself, like, but be graceful with yourself. So also diet. Sorry, there's so many things. There's so many things.
Yeah, there's so many.
No dairy.
And I think one of the things all singers can agree on is one of the greatest fears is getting sick.
Yes.
I mean,
hate getting
how
sick.
do you keep yourself, from getting sick, especially those sore throats? And because I know when I did Canta El Paso, it was a 3-round competition. By the second round, I got sick and I had a throat infection. And I was having to come up with all sorts of remedies to kind of, soothe my throat because I couldn't even speak. And I don't know how, by the grace of God, but I was able to sing on stage. But as soon as I got off stage, like, I just couldn't speak. So what do you do to take care of your throat?
I mean, for sure, that goes back to, like, your everyday maintenance of your health and body. Like, I eat as clean as possible. I take care of my throat. I try not to drink alcohol. I've never smoked in my life. Like, lots of water, no dairy. It's, like, kind of like taking care of your body in general, and then endurance, vocal endurance. So, like, the past year, I've pretty much had gigs where I'm singing for 3 hours.
Oh,
So, and I definitely had to, like, grow into that, because an hour at the time, like, when I started, felt like a lot. Then 2 hours, then 3 hours, and you learn kind of how to pace yourself. And that's why I vocalize every day, because your vocals are like a muscle, so you need to keep working on them. It's the same thing if you're doing, like, biceps or whatever muscle you're trying to grow. You have to consistently work on it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna have a show tomorrow, so I'm gonna, like, vocalize tomorrow and today. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to stay consistent with that. Vocal health is super important to me, but I hate getting sick so much. I mean,
Imagine. So, go ahead.
No, to a singer, that's gonna stop everything. It puts a halter on everything. So I'm sure you look wonderful.
oh, thank you.
I saw this post, and maybe we'll share it, but you put a post that says "Summer Ready." Wow.
Thank you.
Good job.
I
Good
mean,
job.
My trainer, Lizzie and Shane at Sun City, I train with them, and they've kept me in shape. So.
And I think I've seen this pandemic has not stopped you. You've been working out.
From home virtually, right?
Every single day, okay, guys? Like, every day.
I think we all need to follow her footsteps right here.
Yeah.
So, Elia, if anyone wants to contact you for your vocal lessons or just to find your music or follow everything that you're doing, where can they find you?
So pretty much across the board, I'm under Elia Esparza Music on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things. So if you're interested in lessons, you can definitely message me there. I always check all my messages. And if you're just interested in coming to a show, I always post all my schedules for everything like that too.
Awesome. And your music, you said, is on Spotify, also under that same music?
Yeah, well, it's under Elia Esparza. Yeah, so Spotify, anywhere you stream music, my music is available there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Did we not tell you she was talented and extremely accomplished? I think we didn't lie. But I think we're going to end this with one of your recent music videos.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're only going to give you all a little taste of it. So don't get too excited, because if you want to watch the full thing, you can find it on
YouTube at Elia Esparza Music.
Perfect.
All right, let's see. Let's roll this video.
It's just for fun. I'm not one to stick around. One strike and you're out, baby. Don't care if I sound crazy, but you never let me down. No, no, that's why when the sun's up, I'm staying. Still laying in your bed saying, ooh, ooh, ooh.
We told you it was just the tease. So go and watch the full thing on video, because you actually have a special guest in the video
Yeah.
singing with.
So his name is Henry Thang, and he's actually a sushi chef.
Wow.
And yeah, he's so random, right? And he started coming to the studio, and we sort of teamed up, and he was like, hey, do you want to, record this duet with me? And I was like, sure. So we did another one. We did a country song, and it turned out great. We filmed it in White Sands, and it was super fun, and he has a great voice. And so we did this one as well.
So cool, man. You're bringing in, giving opportunities to other artists as well and collaborating. I think that's the way to go.
Definitely. Artists support artists, right? So thank you to everyone watching us at home. Make sure to tune back in with us next weekend for another local icon.
Absolutely.
Right? So thank y'all and have a good night.